Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to the first English stream on my Twitch channel. I have Paul with me.
Hello.
Just hopefully everyone can hear everything because it's the first time I've done this with everything connected. So, yep. People can let me know they can hear everything okay. And we have some interesting stuff to show people today. It's probably going to be fairly short, I think. Because there's only so much new stuff, and Paul and I have another conversation to go and have afterwards. So yeah,
Not about beavers, it's about
not
the
about
kilt that I have
beavers.
and the short
Yeah,
stuff that is going under there.
yeah. No, beavers is a completely different thing. That's a
Yeah,
different
yeah, yeah.
game that I play. So yeah, I don't think there's actually going to be a huge amount of farming tonight. I don't know if Paul's got anything planned, but should I dive into the interesting stuff, or should we give people a few minutes to turn up?
It's all on you.
It is.
You can
It's very weird. So
yeah.
one thing I want to do first, actually, before I dive into the
Yeah,
really
turn
interesting
off turn
stuff,
off the light please because it's annoying.
yep,
Thank you.
is just look at this really, really cool Deutsch tractor. I just love the front suspension on that. It's very cool. I spotted that when I was wandering around earlier.
Okay. Yeah, it's a 225 width for potatoes, onions, carrots,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And unluckily, I got rid of the Deutz with the 150 that I really needed for the potato harvester that you put in the back. The yeah. So there will be no potato harvest today. Or
That's
we can
okay.
do. We can do. You can go with the harvester, and I go with the truck and get it by.
Yeah.
If you want to, you can do.
Yeah, well, we can do a bit of that in a bit. So who do we have with us before I get stuck in? So Nightcloak, Pete, Monarchs, Mr. Farquhar, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Raina, who unfortunately doesn't want to join us tonight.
No, he's busy. He's busy.
Yeah, that's fine.
He's
So
helping moving. So this is
that's
you never have. You always can watch a Twitch stream, but you never can join the game then.
yeah, and I have 15 people here. That's really cool.
Okay.
And Paul's favorite, Suzanne.
Ah, I love.
Right, let's get stuck into the interesting stuff. So
Cheers for the first English, nearly almost daily farm sim show hosted by Disturb. It will be all week, every week now by Disturb. So leave him love, like, subscribe,
follow
and
all that
the
stuff.
food to me, please.
Yeah, send the food to Paul. So let's have we're going to have you look at a few things tonight, mainly around the animals and some of the stuff that we've shown you before, and some new stuff, some very cool new stuff actually that I was surprised Paul was going to let me talk about. So I'm going to start off by we have a cow pasture here which has in it some young bulls.
You can talk about everything, but don't tell anyone.
Yeah, I'll just put it all on mute. It's fine. So we've got some young bulls there. You'll notice some different colors and things. So that's kind of cool. And then,
But they are still alpha texture and
yes,
models, right?
yeah, everything you see is going to be alpha stuff. So if we go into the menu, this is just what's in here at the moment. You'll see there are some bits where text is missing. All of the icons are still alpha icons. So most of how this looks will probably change. There will be more of them, is the plan. But what you'll see is that so we've got.
I'm sorry that I'm interrupting, but the first time that I was streaming after Modell Aisha, I tried to keep up with his speed, and it brought me totally in a bad position. And you are not normally really calm in talking. I really love it, but I feel you firing up. You can do slow. There's no
Okay.
hush, no, just breathe. I love you, man. I love you. We are not in a hurry. There's no marathon.
The marathons are very slow. Marathons are very slow.
Yeah, but this is the way you talk is that also the German really love it because they understand you. But
Okay.
when you speed up, that you're getting faster and faster and faster, and I'm not sure if they can follow them. I'm sorry.
That's
I love
okay.
you.
Let's start again then. So, for what we've got on the screen at the moment is heifers and bulls. There will be more of these once Terralife is actually released. This is just what's here for the alpha testing. All of the text and the icons is all alpha stuff. But what you may have noticed is that for each sex, we have 4 different options. These are 4 different age classes of animal. So we've got calves, which are, I'm not sure what the calves are exactly. So I guess it's a year by the looks of it for the calf group. Paul can correct me if I'm wrong. We,
You just can look at the age.
yeah, is the by age the young, the kind of the bottom age of each group.
Yeah.
So we've then got heifers, which are 12 months old. We've then at 18 months got the heifer cows, which can start to have calves. So that would last through to the 27-month point where they would have their first calf. Each of these has a different model, so each one will look different, and they are part of the model pack that we brought and is being customized for Terralife.
The heifers are in the other stable. You can show them
Yep,
there are heifers at the moment.
yeah, I will wander over in a bit. Then got the same for bulls. So we have bull calves, young bulls, which I think are what was in the shed that I just showed you. And then I guess a not quite adult bull and an adult bull. So once this is released properly, there will be many different options for this. Actually, let's jump over to the other shed. It's quite nice that we're using a farm that I sort of know my way around.
We are trying to get, I think, 8 or 10 different races with the cows,
So
all specifically set up to the different
yes, it's not.
farms that we have.
Guess it's not that shed that's got them in.
No, just where we were.
Yeah.
Just where we were. There's the cow shed here in the back.
Yep. It's over this way, isn't it? Yeah.
You can see that they are young cows and have not calved yet
There
because
we
they
go.
have small titties.
There we go. So these again are alpha versions of the custom models that are going to be part of Terralife.
What is going on? You're in the stable and they are all coming in. What is going on? Come over here. That they come over here. What is going on? That never happened to me.
So there we go. All with custom animations eventually when it's all sorted. So the next bit that I'm going to mention is the really cool bit, which is that for each of the different 4 age groups, they will have different feed requirements. So you will see that. I'll bring up the menus in a bit. For example, if you've got calves, you have to give them milk or milk replacer and calf hay. And then as they get older, the feed requirements changed through to when you've got cows that have calved and are producing milk. And we'll have a look at some of that stuff in a bit. But I think that is a very huge, very cool change. It's something that you quite often see people asking about, that, how do I give my calves milk? Well, with this, you'll be able to, and it'll happen automatically I assume that as the animals age, they will change through the different classes and the feed requirements will change. It's not like FS19, where if you brought calves, they were forever calves.
No, you will have to feed them milk in the first 4 weeks. Then you switch to milk and milk replacer. Then you go to milk replacer, and then you go to the other food.
Yep. So, and that's the same for all of the animals. So, we will have in here pigs. There will be, I guess, breeding pigs and pigs raised for meat. There will be cows, obviously. There will be sheep.
Sorry, have you opened the menu?
Not yet.
Okay, because I thought you had opened the menu
Nope.
and I couldn't see it. I'm
Nope.
sorry.
Nope. I'm talking through the bits that we know about. The cows look nice. So I'll bring up the menus in a bit. So we've got beef and dairy cattle. We've got breeding and pork pigs, I guess. We've got breeding and meat lambs and goats. And we have chickens, and we have egg laying chickens, and we have chickens raised for meat. And all of those have different feed requirements for the different ages.
And we have milk goats.
Cool. I'd missed that bit.
Yeah, and I'm not sure for the sheep. I don't think for the sheep, but for the goats we will do it.
So if I open up the correct menu, so if we go into here, the Terralife Plus animal menu, not the standard game animal menu, you'll see that we've got the young bullpen that we were over with earlier. Again, some of the translations aren't in place. Obviously, this is all alpha testing, so that will all come in time. But at the moment, a lot of things are still in German because that's the language the guys work in. But if I start at the very top, you will see we have quite a long list of sliders for the cows. I'm not going to count them, but there's quite a lot. There's more than 4.
Yeah, I'm very proud of me that I did not get all over crazy because Achim Mobil made it possible that there's an endless
Mm-hmm.
slider possibility. I thought I would have 60 to 80, and I reduced them to 30, and we are, I think, at 20 with the cows.
So I'll get there, Kartek. I'll get there. So Kartek's question is, how does the health work with the sliders? And if you see what I've got on the screen at the moment, they all have a 0% against them. So not every age and every breed of an animal needs a particular feed, needs all of the sliders. So if we scroll down, you will see for these young bulls, we start to get some sliders that have a requirement against them. I'm not sure what those words are because none of them are in my native tongue, but you'll see we have.
Base food is the 36, and
Okay.
roughage is the 27, and the moisture food is the 80%, 18%.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, Nightcloak, it's getting very badly old with the beef chicken. Let's go to milk chicken.
That's why I ignored it. And you'll see here that there are 5 sliders which contribute to the health of the young bulls. So if you give them food which fills these sliders, their health will go up. If you give them the food like they currently have in here, and I'm guessing this is a hangover from some of the pre-testing stuff,
Yeah.
their health will not go up because and I guess these sliders will not be consumed because it's not food that they use. So
Correct.
you could get yourself in a position if you fed the wrong feed where you had a full trough that the animals won't eat and it won't provide them with any health benefits. So definitely something at the moment you need to be careful of. I'm sure the very clever people we have will do something with that.
Yeah, there will be some possibilities to clear up the trough. But for the food side, there will also be a bonus malus system that you have if you have 100% for milk or for beef, for example, and you want to be that guy that is much better than the others. There's a special feed that you can feed, and you get a bonus on it. But you have to feed it for a certain amount of time. It will also uh, go up, and only if you feed it, you will get a little bit more out of it for the beef and for the milk. So if you are not capable of feeding because one trough is full or one slider is full that those animals do not are not consuming, you have to clean it up. And on how to do, go to my bank account. No, we will tell you when we are.
Scan this QR code.
Yeah. We
Um,
will not give away too much at the moment, because there is, when this feature is been shown, there are some others that are going crazy insane with the feature on
mhm.
top. So,
So
and yes, we can have, and I we can have different ages in one stable. So um our Achimobil found a solution, or Chisel, I'm not sure. Both of them were working on it. We can have different ages, and normally the problem is when you have different ages, one will kill the other by killing the health
mhm.
and all that stuff. And now you can have different ages in one husbandry.
So cool. I know I asked about that last week.
Hmm.
It's very cool. Because realistically, you are going to have that, aren't you? It's going to be very hard to keep each of the 4 age groups completely separated.
To be honest, with the alpha testing starting, I'm not even capable of keeping my animals in one age. I've got only 17 now. I had 150 milk cows, and
You've
so
got to eat, you've got to eat.
yeah. No, it's just I sold them because I changed the husbandry
Yeah.
to Castor's Gia
And
feeder.
and then if we go down to these are the 18 to 28-month old bulls in this case. Um, it is bulls, isn't it? Yeah. So
No, it's cow.
are these cows? Sorry, cows. No,
It says cow.
it does, and that says bull, doesn't it?
That
So
those are those in front of us with the small titties, because they have no
yeah.
calf
So
yet given birth to.
at the moment, they have the same food requirement. I suspect that it's entirely possible that in the future that will change.
Yeah, there are four, I think four foods or feed. One for meat and one for milk.
Mhm. Of
Two for beef and two for milk, and they are yet active for both of them, because I need to test the stuff. But when we are ready, then you only have the milk requirement for the cows and the beef for the
mm,
others.
yep. Very interesting question, Monarchs. Do bulls affect breeding? I think at the moment, no. I assume we use artificial insemination still.
No comment.
Okay. Let's have a quick look at the pigs while we've got them here. So we've got
Hi, Chapoy.
a pen with some piglets in. You'll see it's a slightly shorter list at the moment. But these have a requirement for a starter feed. That's what this is. It's a pig starter feed, which you would be buying in. And then you've got the other 4 feeds that they need to get up to maximum health.
Artek, yes, you're correct. In the first 4 weeks, milk is the only mother milk, so to say, is the only food requirement for the calves in the first 4 weeks. Then you mix it with milk replacer, maybe 50-50, and then you go to milk replacer, and then you go to other food. But when you go with the milk to the milk replacer, you already have to feed them with calf hay, calf TMR, calf food. So the different ages have totally different feed requirements, but the milk is only, of course, for the young ones.
Bartek's working very hard on his German tonight. He's obviously after something. I wouldn't trust him. So
We can go to colostrum or beast milk or something like that if you want to. If you want to go more technically, I mean, really with the mother milk, it was really a nice laugh that BGO and I had because he was doing the translations and he put in mother milk or I think not even I think mother milk, and then I said, well, you know that we can't change the milk fill type name because do you think the truck will in the morning will pump up the mother milk instead of the milk because milk is milk. I mean,
yeah,
yeah. So milk will be milk, but milk replacer, of course, will be another one.
Nightcloak. To answer your question, it needs to be put in. I believe the calves won't drink milk directly.
No, it wouldn't make any sense because in real life you also have to feed them because it's also a health check.
Yeah,
You're really interested in checking the health of your calves and
and in real
um,
life, you quite quickly separate the calves away, don't you, so that you
yeah,
can control the milking.
yeah.
Um, so I now have up the animal food overview window. Um,
Did you show that in the other menu you can also by clicking on the slider see what you put in there?
I did not because you didn't tell me that bit.
I mean, you're part of the team. I thought you knew.
Actually,
So if you
you did show me that last. We did show that last week.
yeah,
Um,
so
so yeah, if I let's go to cows because that's the best one. So the first one is milk, and then we've got calf A, milk replacer, calf feed, calf TMR. We'll get onto how many different types of TMR there are.
you see all of a sudden the English translation is there, right?
Yeah, yeah. We've got the classic from Maize Plus of maize silage, whole crop silage, grass silage.
All the new crops are not in there yet because we want to give you some surprises later on.
Yeah. And I guess the really cool thing is with Terralife, you'll be able to grow the alfalfa to make alfalfa hay. And Kartek, the manual is going to be immense for this one, and will be available for a small fee, signed by me.
I let you go on this.
So we've got grain grist and Deutsche grain grist, the mineral feed. Some of these are pretty familiar, certainly to me. Hopefully to you guys as well. Straw and hay. I guess that's more for beef feeding
No,
straw.
no, this is for the fiber.
Mm-hmm.
We differ the roughage in fiber than in energy and in protein. For example, clover or alfalfa silage or hay is protein. Energy would be a grass. A mix of it would be clover hay, clover grass, and the pure roughage for the fiber is the straw.
Mm-hmm.
But as we differ between all the straw types, there are only certain straws that you can put in there because not every straw is tasteful and healthy for the cows.
Yeah.
No, it's true. So this is you have to think on which crops you grow to get the straw.
Yep. Yeah, because it says specifically wheat straw, because there are different straws.
Yeah,
Um,
oats and whatever, all
yeah.
that we have.
And then, for example, down here on, not even going to try and pronounce that word, we have summer wheat as a feed option. So there are,
It's it's basically crop mix or grain grists
mhm.
that are for energy,
So
and the one below is for
yeah,
protein.
but you can see the Terralife crops coming in with things like summer wheat, where we've got different spring or winter or summer crops. White lupine. Is that type of alfalfa?
No, it's lupine. It's also a legume,
Okay.
but it's
Yep.
the king or the queen of the legume that we have. It's a very good replacer for soybean, and it's basically the to-go-to plant of DSV, of our partner.
Ah, okay. Cool.
They basically yeah they they made them. They I'm not sure, but it goes way back on their seed production that they came up
Hmm.
with this.
So it's one that they've kind of bred, I guess.
Yeah.
Brewer's grain, I recognize that one, and beet pulp and their silages. Mm. And then soybeans and mineral feed. So I guess if we look at some of the others quickly, because I don't, so although I have access to this, I've yet to find time to sit and play with it all myself. So this is some of the first time that I'm digging in and
No
looking at
wonder
some of
that
this
you
stuff.
yeah. No
So
wonder that you don't get any if you're only sitting in and playing with yourself. You don't do that. You shouldn't do that. You should play with the farm sim and then learn stuff.
yeah,
It's much more yes.
I do play with others, but I play with others that don't have access to this. So you know,
Okay.
I can't always be doing things with you guys. So,
You know that I'm really noticing that you are much more clear and awake tonight than the other days. Is that you totally went over my slippy throw in play with yourself stuff.
professional,
Nice. Well
professional.
done. Well done. Well done. Well done. I'm the tired one tonight.
Yeah, it's going to hit me at some. This week has been a nightmare. It's going to hit me at some point, but
Yeah,
the
but I feel in the background it's you're getting much faster sleepy.
the hypercharged start was because I've got a can of Monster next to me because it's been a really long week.
You know what? The good thing is I can eat my kebab without even blinking.
Oh, hey, Jaisal. Yeah, so I'll go back to the other window now. Unless, I guess at the moment we only have pigs and cows on here because that's the animals that Paul has available. So,
Yeah, and chicken with Rainer.
yeah, but I'm not on Rainer's farm. So,
No, but you can go
I
through
guess I could.
the food
Yeah, that's
overview
what
from the other guy.
yep, that's what I was going to have a look at next. So, hopefully, yes, I know I'm not supposed to be drinking that, Pete. I also have a dog that's basically in intensive care at the moment. So, it's keeping me going. So,
Mm.
animal food overview, which some of you should recognize the format of, but you will see that there are a lot more options. So, we have for cows, obviously, the names and things will all be tidied up and nice when things are closer to release. But we have the first box is calves. So calves need a calves will eat or drink, I guess, 80% of milk and 20% of cafe. And then you can see the different feed options in here. And I'm going to explain these numbers in a moment because they confused me for a bit and it took Paul a while to explain them to me. But, you know, you would be putting milk in, probably, if you've got dairy cows, or you could be buying milk replacer. The milk replacer stuff is something that's being developed properly at the moment as to how that's going to work in game. There are a few options, so I'm not going to really touch on that. And then the other one would be Carfe. At the moment, you would need to buy the Carfe rather than produce it. In the future, it will be something that can be produced probably through a small production of some sort where it will take in your hay you produce and clean it so that it's suitable for the calves.
You can do it on your farm, then it's not that you have to bring it away. It
Mm.
will be a very compact machine.
Yeah, so I think it's probably fair to say that there's going to be a number of productions that come with or quickly follow Terralife that will help you with doing some of this stuff on your farm.
We will
A
have everything in release at release.
cool.
Uh,
A
because sorry to interrupt you again, but the calf hay is just that we picked this little mini game that you have to clean it up. Is yes, of course you can feed every hay to the calves, but in real life you would pick a certain cut stage, a certain percentage of fiber or energy or protein, and we cannot do this in farm sim at the moment. We cannot do second cut early July with, yeah, we cannot do that, so that you have to put a little bit effort in the calf caretaking. You will have to put your hay through this cleaner, and you get a pallet with bales of calf hay, so to make it a little bit more worth.
Yep. Hey, Akimobile, nice to see you. So before I go through the rest, I want to talk about the bit that's on the right hand side here. So you'll see that picking milk, we've got milk as an option that fills it, and then you'll see there are these other options and a percentage at the end. And what that is that basically the let's pick the concentrated feed as an example. If you put 100 liters of concentrated feed into a pen with calves in, you'd get 50 liters going into the milk bar, and then the calf feed would do 50% of that. Or if you put in one of these others, they would contribute. And basically what it is the recipe has the right components in to fill the bar. So if we look down here, the that Deutsche calf feed, 50% would go against the hay requirement. So, and you'll see that all the way through. And it took me a bit of time to get Paul to explain it so that I understood it. So we've then got the next phase. And again, I guess this is the slightly older calves. So still milk, the milk replacer, calf feed, and calf hay. And again, you can see on the side here we've got calf TMR appearing. We'll go through some of the recipes in a bit as to what they look like. I wouldn't take any of them as final at the moment. I know this is sort of the stuff that Paul's getting stuck into working on at the moment.
Slightly old cow sounds like a band name.
I think it's probably something that Rain listens to. So, picking another example, I'm trying to look for a good example of something interesting. So this is starting to look more like you might recognize from Maize Plus, where TMR is going to give you the right percentages if you feed the right TMR for the different feed requirements. Something that is worth noting is that different TMRs provide a different percentage for these. So normal TMR is giving you 40%, which is what's required for how much they eat. But let's say the bull meat TMR is only going to give you 30%. So it is
On that specific slider.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
But that's where it becomes more important that you feed them the right TMR, because unlike Maize Plus, where TMR was TMR and it behaved the same everywhere, different TMRs will behave differently for different animals, or different ages of animals and different subbreeds of animals or sexes of animal.
Because you will need different sliders to get the 100% for the health requirement. Not every TMR provides everything that you need for this age. So this is where it comes in handy that you really take care of what to mix and what to feed.
And if we scroll down the incredibly long list, we get to pigs. So we've got piglets first. So You've got your starter feed that you would buy in, being the bulk of their feed.
For that, I have to say we just have two age stages at the moment, because I've focused more on the cows at the moment.
Mhm.
The others will follow. So this is less than it will be in the beta or final version.
And then we've got their other feed requirements. And you'll see in here we've got different food mixtures for things like pig food. So we've got the so for each type of food mixture, there will be a Doika branded one and there will be an unbranded one. So that you can the Doika ones are the ones you buy. The unbranded ones would be the ones you could make yourself in some sort of production.
And buy on top. You can buy
Yep.
them and make them yourself.
And then you'll notice that there is a feed for producing, I guess, fattened animals for meat versus feeding them for breeding. And I suspect once this is properly populated, if you give your breeding pigs meat feed, they won't perform as well because you won't fill the right sliders up. We've then got chicks and chickens. So this is quite a nice example again of how this percentage thing works. So you've got a starter feed, and then you've got alfalfa hay. But if you use one of the feed mixes that's meant for the older chickens, 20% of what you put in would go into the bar for the chicks. So I guess that's kind of nice if you've got, a chicken pen that's got a wide range of ages of animals in it. You can put a bit of starter feed in and then one of these, and maybe you'll be okay. As we go further down the list, we get even further into the bits that haven't really been worked on yet. So there will be horses. Am I right in thinking there will be the same 4 stages for horses?
No, they will have more. It's just those are just the basics. The horses are not touched at the
Mm-hmm.
moment, and the goats are not touched at the moment, and they are not in this map at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's only the cows, the pigs, the chicken, and the sheep, just a little bit adjusted.
I was thinking in terms of we'll have foals and adult horses and in
Yeah,
between.
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Those. Oh, sorry, that was off camera. We have not integrated for sheep, for horses, and for goats. Sorry, and for pigs and for chickens, the extra stages
Mm-hmm.
yet, because I wanted to check first on the cows how all the stages work, and when I know the workflow on how it goes, and we have the other models ready, because we are our Timo is slightly modifying all the models, so there will no other models be out there like the ones that we will have. When they are ready and they are put in, then we will test the other stuff.
Yep. So yes, Night Cloak. The TMRs will fill sliders to different percentages and different ages of animals, and whether they are male or female or meat or breeding will all have different percentage requirements for different sliders. So putting the wrong one in will get you less good results. We'll have a look at the mixtures in a moment, probably when I hit the X key. Again, bear in mind all of this is alpha stuff. It is probably likely to change. So don't take anything you see here as this is definitely what's going to be there when you get your hands on Terralife. The first ones you should recognize. So the first one is base game TMR mixture, and then the realistic mixture from Maze Plus, which I'm sure we all know and love and have mixed many millions of liters of. We then have a calf TMR, and looking at that, that is a lot of hay. And interestingly, I think I really like it when they have minimums. There's a minimum of molasses, I guess, because you want to encourage them to eat it with something sweet, and a minimum for mineral feed because you need to be getting minerals into them. So
The
it's
reason that there is no silage in there is that the calf TMR, like the calf food, is to ensure that the bacteria um, is growing, that they can later on eat all the other stuff because they are only on milk,
mm,
and you have to train the bacteria to
yeah.
become available for the calves. I have no idea on how different stomachs are called in the cow in English. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's you're training the rumen essentially, aren't you, to
Yeah.
digest stuff?
So, and you have to do it very slowly, and this is really the calf TMR is basically set up every time all the same in every book that you find. It's a very good amount of very high quality hay, and then some crops that you grist or grind into it.
Yeah. Picking up on Cartec's question about the specifically wheat straw,
Yeah.
is that just because at the moment we haven't got the rest of them in the list? Or would you only specifically feed wheat straw versus barley or oat or
I would use wheat straw for the mixtures. If we go to the summer and summer wheat and summer barley straw, perhaps then you can put it on top too. Oat straw is also a good feeder, but like for example Triticale or Ray has a little bit of a bitter taste, so they don't like it that much, and you want to have, especially in mixtures where you want to um, give them the interest and to feed it, to eat it, you have to have tasty ingredients in there. So this is and the wheat straw is the always to go to,
so
the easiest part.
it will be some specific straws, but not necessarily just wheat.
Correct.
But I think the bit that this sort of thing tells me is that if you're running a, let's say, a dairy farm, you're probably going to need to grow a lot more things than you do, even with Maize Plus. Probably more than you would have when we had forage extension in FS19.
Yeah.
And I can see that you're going to end up with more small fields of things or buying in extra things that you don't have the capacity to grow.
With the adjusted yields, you will also have to think really, really good about on how big you go on animals or on how big you go on fields. Back in the days, there was always the complaint, yeah, but we cannot always buy stuff ourselves. I know only farms that produce themselves. I mean, it's not true because
Mm,
I made my money out of it for 20 years by selling stuff to farms, food to farms.
yeah.
But now I already heard complaints that, well, why we have to grow so many crops to feed them. Yeah, it's one way or the other. You have the possibility to grow your own stuff for your cows to make more money out of it, or you can buy it. So both is now possible.
Mm. And I think, from my years and years of watching YouTube, a lot of farmers buy stuff in.
Yeah.
The one that I really enjoy watching is 10th Generation Dairymen, and they grow most of their own feed. They grow a lot of different crops. They grow probably for 3 or 4 different crops that they silage, but they still buy in things like calf feed,
I mean,
so
um,
and mineral and all that kind of thing.
yeah. I mean, there is stuff that you cannot produce yourself, but there is stuff that you can slightly feed into. For example, alfalfa hay is roughage, is protein food, and has a lot of minerals. So by feeding alfalfa, you reduce the amount of protein feed that you need. Same with a soybean or lupine, or a canola and all that stuff. You can always fill those sliders with this stuff. And as you know it, you can always change your own to your own recipe, but sorry, this time, guys, if you don't know what you do, leave it or ask someone who has uh, s- because the AFA, the alpha zip that you had with Mace Plus, compared to this tiny little thing that we have at the moment for one cow type, um, I'm at 600 lines at the moment only for the cows, and I think we will end up with 2 or 3 thousand
Yeah,
lines, and they are all connected. So this is really, really, really tough,
yeah.
tough territory where you're going on to, and you really have to want it. And so, of course, we give support. We will make a good documentary, but it is possible. But don't get angry on us. It's really you have to want you really do want to have it.
I think people have to. It's something that I'm sometimes, maybe people might feel a bit harsh on, but you have to realize your own limits when it comes to editing this stuff. And it's beyond, if it's beyond your skills, we can't walk you through it line by line and key press by key press. I do a lot of videos on how to do this stuff. And if that's not enough to point you in the right direction, you maybe ask a friend or accept what's in there.
I mean, the keynote is that everything is connected, and then it's very, very, very easy to connect stuff to each other because of the in FS19 we didn't have it, but in FS22 I introduced the slider fill types. Slider fill types are the ones that connect the mixture, recipes, and the trough. And if you get those principles on how this works from FS22 Maze Plus, you will really get into on how to do it. But the amount of back and forth that we have with the different ages, with the different subtypes, with the different animals, it's really not to do in 5 minutes changing. It's really you have to get into it, try it, just try one recipe, just try one subtype. If it works, then you can do the other one step by step. Don't get in there not reading the manual, messing everything up, and then terrorizing the Discord by yeah. You
Yeah.
know, you're getting what I'm saying, I
Yeah,
guess.
I think most of the people here get that. So picking up on a couple of the questions and comments, Nightcloak's one about some stuff not being feasible on a small scale. In my mind, if you're running a smaller scale farm, you might have to buy more in of the specific ingredients you need smaller amounts of.
The amount of food that you will need is slightly decreased. Um, because it makes no sense to have real life food usage when you are playing on a farm that is only 10% of the real life need that you would have. It means we are playing with 3 farms on this map. We would need every corner of this map to get a little bit by on on our feeding. It's only possible because at the moment there is still some of the giants yields. But if we go to realistic yields, you suddenly shrink the possibility to grow this crops. Yeah, so it's not dialed down that much. It's just by 10%, but you will feel it that it's a little bit better to handle, and with the requirement of at least 4 days a month, um, you will get pretty good by. You come pretty good by to feed and produce the stuff. But when you have 6, 7, 8 farms on a single normal map, it will not work.
Yeah, and that 4 days is, I don't, is it hard coded as a minimum or just hard coded as 4?
No, it's hard coded as a minimum.
Yep. So you won't be able
It's
to
because of
ignore.
it's because of the new growing system,
Yep.
the new growth system that requires that. Um, you will all understand why if you see the new growth system. We will not spoil on it. You will see it in the Eifelland alpha streams. But when you see it, you will say,
Yeah,
understandable.
it does make sense. I can already see people moaning that what I play on 1 day months. And I was like, well, maybe this isn't for you.
Correct.
Picking up on a couple of the others on Kartek's comment about customizing the price of things and Nightcloak about the economy. So the intent, and I suspect this might be where some work starts to fall on me with some of this stuff because I like making videos about it, is that the whole thing will be a interconnected economy so that if you have to buy things in.
Sorry, I have to laugh how you mispronounce all. Some. All. You know the stream comes with a cost, right?
Yeah, yeah. The idea being that it's all a closed economy and it should all work together so that you won't need to go in and make certain things cheaper to make it viable to still run a farm. Yeah, so that hopefully addresses all of that. It won't be like the reason that Maze Plus was set up like that is because it wasn't a closed economy. It was a mod that you can use on any map, and therefore different maps can have their economies set up differently, and so whatever we did would be wrong.
Yeah. Eagle. Well, we're gonna need 4-day month if we are gonna cut grass every 5 weeks. Well, maybe
Yeah.
it's every 6 or 3 weeks. Who knows?
I think you're definitely going to want 4 day months. And yeah, like Kartek said, yeah, there was a reason that we recommended 3 day months. And for me, that was about being able to manage doing all the things you needed to do a sensible amount of time.
What people really have to keep in mind. Yes, we are doing it from the community for the community, but we are doing it not to cater all. We are doing it to break and step over the limits that are possible on PC in FS22, to make it possible for giants to make adjustments in the engine that stuff like ours can be played on PlayStation and Xbox, so the new consoles in FS 25, 26. So if we do limit ourselves by certain amount of play groups that want to play one day, or this or that is too heavy, we would never get to the goal that we have, that we did not reach in FS19. We broke some limits, but not all, and now we are going to break every limit and to show what is possible. And Giants can make it so that we can do stuff later on only by XML, so it's possible to get it on console. So it's a long run win-win for everybody. And on the road there, some people will fall off. I'm sorry for that. It's not on purpose. It's not that we don't like you or your playstyle, but our goal is really to show what is possible and to make the next farm sim the best ever happen.
I think if you want that more, I'm going to use the word that's maybe not the right word, that more arcadey version where you're trying to play fast Maze Plus or fast Terralife, there's Maze Plus. Use that. You get most of the features. If you want to try and play Terralife quickly, you're probably not going to be making use of everything that's in Terralife anyway. So, picking up on Pete's comment about limits, as Paul just said, we're just smashing all of them. Between lazy scripters like Akimobile and the rest of the team, there don't seem to be any limits to what can be achieved.
Yeah, Braven, please comment on that. Just what we talked about yesterday. It was just Braven said we have to increase the limits, the fill type limits, and I said, well, we are only at 284. I think that should be enough, because with revamp you already have 512, and then we counted and we are at the moment at 350. and have not even all animals in there and all that stuff. So yeah, I think 212 will not be the latest limit. I don't know where that 127 come from. They are so old news.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Someone will just find a way to keep smashing through the things that I keep thinking are impossible.
Yeah, I see 350 at the moment.
Nightcloak, thank you for stopping by. The bits that you missed will be on YouTube tomorrow, hopefully. So, and yes, Pete, you are definitely above 255, but you know that age record is something that's pretty impressive.
I mean, revamp makes it possible. Revamp increases it that high. So it is already increased to 512. But that won't be enough if there is someone maybe making productions
Mm-hmm.
on top of that what we are doing. So yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't worry about anything that you think is a limit in the game at the moment, because some of the stuff that's happening in the background is breaking everything which I think is a limitation of how this game engine works. So
The only limit that we have is the capability of the PC and the internet and the servers synchronizing stuff.
yeah, I guess the biggest limitation will be what multiplayer can handle.
Yeah, if it's not possible in multiplayer, we will not release it.
Yeah.
Because this is the way where we want to go to, and if they increase or increase or if the performance is really getting that better in the next farm sim, you can count on us. We will have the limits triggered out very fast in the next one too. But if we get in, or if only half of the stuff that we are doing is coming into the next farm sim, we already have a win-win situation if it's on console available.
Definitely.
When
Even if, you know, there was enough to allow Maze Plus on console, that would be a huge leap.
Yeah, the in FS19, Top Ace asked me for permission for some stuff for some alfalfa and stuff for the console version. It was limited by the high types, and so it had to be very tricky. Now with 64, there's much more possible. But 64 high types is really, I mean, we already had an FS19. We were at 126 high types. So
Mm-hmm. Yep.
um,
I remember editing maps so that I could have 128, so that I could use bits of forage extension, I guess it was. That was when I was starting to get into making tutorials on how to do things, and that was one I completely avoided because it was a nightmare.
our only hard limit is called Uwe. I love you too.
um,
If you thought I have been tough on you, I have not even started.
Hopefully, you don't need to get tough on them.
No, I don't need it, but
No.
because it's really a very cool and powerful group that we have. And I think that is the biggest achievement, to have a group of people that are really all outstanding guys, personalities. Otherwise, it would not be possible. If we had 24 guys with the best possible scripting, modeling, whatever capability, if they were assholes, we wouldn't have come that far.
Yeah. Yeah. There's very little room for those personalities. Back to what I have on the screen, having wandered off for a little while. Before I scroll a bit further, those of you that were paying attention might have seen what's coming. So we've got the bull beef TMR mix. So again, the exact things that are in here probably will change, but if you're doing beef, you need a different TMR. So if you're doing dairy and it actually has an effect, rather than in Maze Plus you kind of, you know, accepting that underneath in the engine, they all work the same.
Please notice this is only for the Holstein at the moment. Multiply those thingies by 8 or 10 with the other races that are coming. Yeah, so you will have for the Holstein bulls, this is the TMR. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yep.
Just saying.
There's going to be a lot of scrolling. And I guess the really nice thing is that having mods like the animal field overview, the stuff that we show in the animal menu earlier, where it tells you what goes in each slider, hopefully makes life easier for people in terms of getting comfortable with the different things. Obviously, you will be required to read the manual to understand how this stuff works. And picking up on Monarch's comment, I suspect that I guess, maybe, and I don't know because it hasn't been implemented yet. I don't know what's in Paul's brain, but I guess if you gave Holstein's limousine TMR, you'd get a slight reduction in performance. I can't imagine it's that different, is it? This is where Paul corrects me.
Depending on, I mean, for example, if you have a milk or beef cattle, you can also have a mother herd where you just produce calves that stay with the mom, and the bulls of them get afterwards to meet bulls. It's a complete different. The breeding is a complete different story if you have this other cow races. This is a complete different thing. Some of them might even need less food in the amount of variety. Others might need more food with less variety, or both.
Yep.
It's all yeah. I all have to figure out. It's a lot of study and a lot of numbers and words to get by. I mean, that I was in school for farming is 30 years back. So I, of course, that changed things, and we want to get it right as possible, as as much as possible. I'm in contact with real life farmers to help with certain stuff, but there is always, it's just a possibility. It's not. It's an option. It's not a must-have. So we will see where we end with this.
Yeah. And of course, there will be many, many videos on how this stuff all works. And you'll see this as things move from alpha testing to beta testing. You'll see, the different animal pens and the different feeding and stuff like that. So,
what is the name? How's power supply? No, the where you get your electricity from. How is it called? The factory.
power plant.
Yeah, the power plant. Because the Manux asks how much will it impact the performance. I mean, the power plant here nearby already calls me by surname because no, at the moment we have no impact at all that we can really feel. But that can change when we go over winter in spring, when all the crops start to grow. This will be is an impact possibility, and the other one is if you have too many different or too many animals on the map itself spawning, running around. This has the most impact at the moment, even with Giants Vanilla animals. So we do not know yet.
And I don't think we could cope with more pools. Picking up Raven question. One pool is enough. So the ones we have on the screen now are getting interesting. So ignore the fact that it says cow. It's because the goats and proper sheep have not been implemented yet into this map, but there will be goat TMR and sheep TMR that you can make or buy. The difference with these is they will use a placeable using production revamp, so it won't be in the feed mixer like the cow's TMR.
Nope.
It will be So,
Nope. The goat and the sheep TMR will be in the normal
okay,
feed mixer. The pigs and chicken feed you cannot mix in
okay.
there.
Ignore what
The
I said
normal
then.
the normal pig feed at the moment is the normal pig feed you can mix in the mixer wagon. Like you could do, yeah, you could do. No, could you? Yes, you could.
Yes, yep.
You, yeah. So at the moment, it is planned that we do a separate placeable that we do it with revamp to not mix up the mixer wagon that much. But for the sheep and for the goats, it should be possible to make it in the mixer wagon.
Awesome. That's even better.
Hmm. They are basically the same ingredients.
Hmm.
With pig and
Yeah, I
chicken, it
guess.
would differ too much, and it would be too small grained to do it in a regular
Mm.
mixer wagon in real life.
Yeah. And then we have the grain grist recipe that you will be familiar with from Maize Plus, and there are also some other grain mixes which we can have a look at in a bit. Hopefully, that gave you some sort of more detailed run through about what's happening with the animals in Terralife. It's obviously all still work in progress. They do look so cool, the new models. So, any questions from that?
Is it always the same with you when you're in the background that you get so tired?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, it's annoying. It's
Yep.
really annoying.
It's why when we get to about 8:30, 9 p.m. my time, I get very quiet and I just play the game in the background, or I wander off and stop doing the job you've asked me to do.
Yeah, I mean, if I would play some, it would be nice, I guess. But it's just sitting here and it's so. I would.
Yep. Yep.
It's wow.
Yeah, it's because you don't have to concentrate quite as much, I think.
Yeah.
But you're also still having to think in English rather than in German, which probably makes it worse for you. I'm going to take the lack of response that there are no questions and everyone understood that perfectly, because it was clearly a brilliant explanation of how everything works. And I think we'll have a a look through some of the fill type stuff and pick up some of the other bits.
If they didn't get the features, they have no questions because
Hmm?
if they didn't get the features, they have no questions because they didn't get the features in the first place.
Yeah. The aim is that we will wrap this up in about 20 minutes time. So let's jump into the field types menu or field types list. And I managed to frustrate Paul a little while ago by randomly scrolling through this rather than going through it as he spoke to me about it. But we'll try and run through some of the bits that
You,
I think are new. So
you know cold water? You know cold water?
yeah.
That's where I'm slipping you in right now because you didn't listen. I will lean back now.
So I'll try and not get all of this wrong. And I'm just going to try and find and get to some of the bits that we haven't covered in previous ones. So some stuff that we have spoken about that you guys will hopefully recognize from forage extension, things like alfalfa, alfalfa hay, alfalfa silage, equivalents for clover. We then have the clover grass, which is a mix of grass and clover, so will behave differently when you feed it. So that's kind of cool. They are all different ones that you'll be able to grow on the map. We have the horse hay, we have haylage, and we have horse grass silage. They are different things. So I know one of my massive frustrations with forage extension was everyone saying it's haylage, it's not horse grass silage, and I assume Paul knows what he's talking about because he worked in the forage industry for 30 years. So it's horse grass silage. I trust the guy who's done this for much longer than most of the people that were complaining about it have been out of
The
childhood.
difference the difference between both is the stage in what you cut it. If you cut it in the stage where you would normally make hay out of it, so it's how is it called? Mid to end blooming. Is blooming the right word?
Yep.
If
Yep. Flowering, I
so,
guess.
yeah, or flowering. Then it can be horse haylage, or then it can be haylage. But for haylage, it has to be very dry. But there's only a certain amount of or there is a certain amount of moisture needed that it is silaging the right way, that the bacteria can really make it
Meant.
uh, yeah, that it really ferments clean without any other mold and stuff in it. And so horse silage is with 50 to 60% of dry mass in it, and horse haylage is above 60% up to 75%, but cut in the flowering stage.
Mm.
But a lot of people cut grass early, try to make it to hay, and then it gets rain, and they just wrap it and call it haylage
Mm.
because it was nearly dry. But
Yeah.
that's not the right definition. So this is why I'm so angry and frustrated about people talking about haylage and silage. It is all silage. Haylage is also silage because it's a silaging progress. But you have wet silage, you have the normal silage, and then you have the haylage, and there is really a percentage that says it is this or that.
So with
And this horse haylage that we have here is from a friend of mine. He produces it with special grass that is really at the end of blooming, so a lot of fiber is in there, less protein, but it's a very sugar intense grass type. So he has enough sugar in there that he can silage it and ferment it even with the high drying stage in it. So it's real horse haylage.
So it's a different type of grass and cut at a specific point. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay. This stuff is kind of new to me. I just, I'm not a farmer. To me,
I,
it says it's horse grass silage or horse hay or whatever. It's what it is. I don't understand the
it's
detail behind it. So,
it would be really easy to explain to you in German for me.
hmm.
In English, I have never done it before, so it's really I'm struggling with
Well,
with the keywords, and the
yeah,
keywords are necessary. So I'm struggling a little bit
I
to explain.
I really like Caltech's idea of including snippets of this in the manual, and we'll work out how to translate what you know in German into English.
Mhm.
Um, I think that might be really cool because we've
Uh,
spoken about making the manual better. So
yeah, we can do anagrams and
yeah,
pictograms
uh,
and some other
yeah,
stuff in there. Maybe the Da Vinci Code.
no, um, no, but I think we should, because part of your passion of doing this is educating people about farming. We
Yes.
should put that information in there so that when someone says, "Oh no, it's not, it's this," you can, rather than just giving them a short answer, we can point them at a proper answer on some of it because I think it's really
Um,
interesting.
This is kind of the problem with the Terralife PDF. It will include a lot of this stuff because
Mm,
it's really necessary to get this covered. And this is why I thought about doing some video bits in between. Not sure on how we can implement it. I think it is possible to put a short link in the PDF when we release the PDF the way we did with Google. You can put in a link
mm,
so that
yeah,
that at a certain point of PDF reading, so now you can watch it on YouTube,
mm,
a short video, 3 to 5 minutes maybe, to give the explanation. Then you can go on further so that you have chapters where you can go through and keep on interested, or
yeah,
become interested in reading it.
yeah. I think it's going to be a bit different to the Maze Plus one.
Totally.
So
Will have nothing to do with the Maze Plus
yeah,
menu. I'm so unhappy
and
with it.
and I think that the important point from the conversation going on in chat is that, as Eagle said, you will have to pass a test. Um, I wish we could do that. It would save so many questions. I noticed that Bavarian Redneck appeared as well, which is cool. Thank you for coming
Timo,
along.
hey, hey, ho.
So, yeah, I am picking up on Pete's one about some sort of blending plant and production facilities for different feeds. I'm sure someone will make mods like that to download off the back of Terralife.
Yeah, the milking cow.
Yeah,
Terralife.
yeah,
No, for the tests, I mean, with all fairness, this is not to throw Achimobil or Braven, for example, under the bus. By far not. But both joined the team with not knowing a lot of farming. They come from a totally different background, and with the mod revamp autoload, they have totally different viewpoints on the farming simulator. So they would not pass a test on that either, even if Achimobil and Braven are mostly working on the animal system, the crop growth. They are learning step by step by doing so.
yeah,
So it's not a shame that if you don't understand stuff, not in the first place or at all, um, the key thing on it is we will help you if you put a little bit effort in asking. Yeah, if you just say, I don't know how you work, I have no interest in helping you. But if you say, hi, I'm new here, I read this and that, I have problems with this, just four or five sentences so that we can see there's an interest and the effort to help you is really well placed.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, this is because if you do it 100 times, I will explain the same thing 100 times a day if it's asked properly.
yeah.
And this is the key feature on it.
Something like I've read this bit and I don't quite understand it. Not I've installed this mod and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
If people have taken the time and they still don't understand it, that for me is quite useful because it means the way we've explained it hasn't quite worked. So it's that's
I
partly
mean,
on us as well then that we can
yeah,
improve
we
how
can.
we explain things.
Yeah, we can do it a little bit trickier. I mean, I will do the English support and you the German.
Yeah, that's really easy. People won't get an answer. If DeepL can't translate it for me,
Come on, to be honest, you supported so much with Deep Learn. It is so impressive. When I
it's
really, you came out of nowhere, and I thought, what the heck is going on?
I do try, and if there are questions in the German bit, I will DeepL them if no one else is about and see if I can construct an answer that's easy to understand for people. Um, and when you guys are all chatting, I do put quite a lot through Google Translate or DeepL so that I can have some idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
It's really the integration with Discord is so good. It's a button press to translate stuff. Um,
As a modder here, which knows why the farming takes 4 minutes to start after it has started in the first what? Any modder here which knows why the farm sim takes 4 minutes to start after I started it the first 10 times fast?
no,
Is it that what you asked in the Discord the last time? No, I've not experienced it.
no, and mine is generally pretty consistent on load times. The only time things start to go wrong with load times is if there's a problem in the log, and I'd be amazed if you have a problem in your log file that you're not trying to fix. So
I mean, I do always quit by Alt F4. I think he does quit by Q in the console,
mm,
and Modell Eicher does it the same, and we never experienced that either. So
yeah,
I'm not sure. But what I wanted to say is with the support and the educational stuff, please guys keep in mind this time we to only do our stuff. That means there is much more room and time to really explain stuff instead of having those 100+ maps to support that are really so far off the topic that yeah, this is really all about this, to break the limits, to show giants on what is possible, to show you guys what is possible, and to explain. So we will put a lot of effort in it to do so, and yet we will not put it behind a paywall. Keep that in mind too. So if you can afford it, if you want to, tip Disturb or Achim or Braven or me or the FA. If you want to do it, but it's not the requirement. The requirement is only be kind, be patient, and put a little bit effort in asking a question. That's all that we are asking for.
Achim, have you changed anything in the base game files that's forcing it to check for updates? The only reason I ask is that I have done some stuff in mine to get custom worker names and NPC farm owner names, and that occasionally forces the game to recheck for updates more often than a clean install. That's the only thing that I can think of that's maybe forcing it to check for updates more often. I think that's why mine does it.
Did you mention that we will have new fill types for the Göval LT Master?
I did not.
We will have beet pulp. No, we have beet pulp, but we will have potato pulp, carrot pulp, and certain other stuff that you can bale in it.
I had not mentioned that, but that is very cool. What I was going to mention next is that each different type of grass has its own hay and silage. So if you've got field grass, if you remember, those of you that played with forage extension in FS19, if you mowed field grass, or I can't remember, I didn't do field grass that often. I can't remember
if you mowed field grass, you got grass windrow.
Yep.
If you threshed field grass, you got the semi-dry horse grass to make it easier for making horse silage. The field grass, the clover, and the alfalfa will be threshable again. So just on top of it.
Yep. So there's many more different types of grass now, and I'm assuming that they will all have different effects because they will provide different feeding needs.
Yes, and with the Tether script, we now don't have the issue with having batches of different stuff in there for silaging, for the horse silage. So we don't need to put out semi-dry horse grass.
Yeah.
But for example, the field grass that will come out will have much more fiber and less energy, because it is trashed when it is at the end of flowering.
There's some things I want to ask you, but I'll ask you those later. About how those work.
Do it now.
Okay.
Go to the chopper now.
With you saying that these are going to work differently, does that mean they are going to be mixtures? So they will fill multiple sliders?
This is at the moment something that I'm not sure of if it's possible. We are working on it. Achim was working on it. Just on a side note, not yet full purposely the key we are working on, but this is something that is definitely on our notebook to look into it, because it would be nice to make mixers out of it to fill up different sliders. That was my first idea, but as soon as you do so, you cannot put it in the mixer wagon. So we have to rewrite the mixer wagon script, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe there's another loophole, but we will try to find a loophole, because this is basically the crown of the feeding. If we can make this possible, I'm not sure if we give any support for the alpha at all anymore, because then it will explode.
It will be so complex. And realistically, well, people will want to tweak it, but you shouldn't need to. You should experience. My view with this kind of stuff, because each map is going to be slightly different anyway. You should experience it as was intended first, at least. And by the time you've experienced it as intended, you will probably realize you don't need to change it.
You will get organic milk. You will get hay milk. You will have so many different experiences on the different maps, that it is really just taking it on how it is designed first, as this Disturb says, would be the easiest way to get an understanding on how it works. And I would try to make the feeding as realistic as possible, but also with the highest possible variety, so that you don't have only one crop for protein or one crop for energy. And maybe this is the crop you do not want to grow, but there are other crops, so that we really have the options that you can put in all that would be in real life a protein crop, energy crop, so that you don't have to adjust stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely think that my kind of default response will be just experience it first, because you don't know what you don't like about it and what you want to change about it. It's not like what you've played before.
What timetable did we set for the meeting tonight?
We have 15 minutes. I was going to wrap up in a moment.
Yeah, because I have to switch the PC for that. I'm not sure if you want to take a break of 5 minutes then, or
yeah. I don't think, is there any more interesting bits we wanted to pick out of this list before we wrap things up? I guess we've got all of the different types of straw that we have spoken about, including maize straw and silage from that. We've got,
I think, well, we have some to follow up next week then, where we can go in the feeding a little bit more, in the food a little bit more, and in the crops, and so I think it's not necessarily needed that we extend it more than we have now, because next week, another week, new features.
Yeah, we can talk about green cuttings next week as well for you, Pete. So just to make you come back.
Oh, there are some interesting things coming with green cutting, by the way.
So from what I remember from the alpha testing in FS19, green cutting and all that side of things was awesome. So I expect it to be awesome in 22. There was a whole cool layer of stuff that went on top of the game. So I think at this point we wrap things up. It's I have survived the first one, which is cool. Thank you for your help, Paul.
You're welcome. Thank you for the farming agency part you're taking.
Yeah, thank you for letting me try and do this, because it's a big step. And I'm hoping that it'll get easier when I can sit in a tractor and do this rather than having to stand and talk for 90 minutes.
The only minute I mention ducks is duck you. I will see now how you crash.
Yeah.
The last laugh is on me now.
Definitely. Ahim, hopefully when you fix that, it'll be sorted. It sounds like you've got the same problem I've got. The game thinks mine needs to be repaired because I've changed something that I don't want it to fix. So I guess if you force it to refresh the install, it might behave. Yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. It's been interesting. This should be up on YouTube tomorrow at some point. And we will be back next week at about the same time.
Yes, and maybe a little bit longer.
Yes, maybe. We won't have a meeting afterwards, hopefully. So,
meet.
night, everyone.
Bye-bye.